One of the biggest fundamental adoption principles of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is that people tend to buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies when they lose faith in their government. When the government hyperinflates their dollar by 10 million%, making what you just earned on a paycheck, hard work, putting in hours, and maybe you have a job right now. Imagine if you got your paycheck and it was worthless because their dollar is hyperinflated and worth nothing. This happens all over the world. We've seen case studies time and time again from Venezuela, Africa, where Bitcoin likes to set new volume records as well as price records because of this, distrust in the government. Yeah, it's a third world country, but who's to say that America or any of these big economic systems aren't vulnerable to this type of, wealth transfer into cryptocurrency? In this video, we're going to be talking about a possible recession. There's about a 33% chance that we're going to go into a recession, and how cryptocurrencies can be the new hedge. It could be a cryptocurrency revolution where huge financial investors, institutional money, as well as, common investors like you guys that are staying ahead of the curve by watching these videos, could potentially be storing their value into cryptocurrency and watching the traditional financial system come to a halt. Keep watching. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another cryptocurrency video, and today we're going to be talking about a cryptocurrency revolution. All right, it's a basic principle. When people lose faith in their government, they tend to invest in cryptocurrency because it's decentralized. You actually own your cryptocurrency. If you have a private key, you own your cryptocurrency. And guys, what a time it is to be alive. If you really think about this in a large, long-term perspective, the chances of you being alive are like what Gary Vaynerchuk says, like 1,000,000 to 1 or something. And then the chances of you being alive in the biggest economic expansion the world has ever seen before, the decentralization of information due to internet, the chances of you becoming rich are exponentially increased. Think about if you were born, in ancient Egypt. If you are a slave or a peasant, the chances of you becoming rich are slim to nothing. Okay, there's no way. Your whole family and your whole bloodline is basically going to be peasants or slaves if you're born in ancient Egypt. Now we see all these rag to riches stories, right? All these people coming up with not only cryptocurrency, but businesses online. In total, the best way to sum it up, basically, centralized authority is being decentralized. And one of the ways they're doing it is through cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. If you do not understand decentralization, I highly recommend you guys look into blockchain technology as the fundamental, reason why cryptocurrency holds its value and how these beautiful technologies can come into existence. But before we get started, guys, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, my name is Alex. I do everything from cryptocurrency, investing, entrepreneurship, internet entrepreneurship, self-help, anything to become a successful human being on the internet. I'm there. Hit that subscribe button as well as the push notification bell, and hit that like button if I've ever made you money or if you find some value from this video. Let's jump right into it. So I've already showed you guys this article. Venezuela sets new Bitcoin volume record thanks to the hyperinflation in Venezuela. This is a clear indication that people want Bitcoin when the dollar goes to trash. They want Bitcoin, okay? Now, a lot of people are asking me, Alex, well, can't Bitcoin be hacked? Isn't there a vulnerability in Bitcoin? Bitcoin has, never ever been hacked ever, okay? The reason why is through the blockchain technology. I can dive super deep into it. Quantum computers could possibly hack it. I could go into it if I wanted to. But right now, it would be too expensive to hack Bitcoin. Way too expensive. Nobody can do it. And nobody has ever done it. If you've ever seen a hack, it's usually an exchange or some type of scam. But it's not the Bitcoin blockchain itself. It's impossible. That is literally the way it's made, right? So, and you could see here, like even the Chinese government tried to ban Bitcoin in 2017, but they're still, subverting the system. They're still getting through the firewall. They're still, getting their Bitcoin by any means, right? They cannot shut down Bitcoin. No, that's the power of it, right? If United States, if anything ever happened, there's about a 33% chance of recession. I'm going to talk about it in this video. But let's say we go into a huge recession or a housing market crash like in 2004, right? What if you go to the bank and your savings that you've been holding for the past 10 years You cannot even withdraw it. What if the US dollar goes, you know, the value of the US dollar goes to nothing? There's a huge chance that could happen. Guys, we have been on the biggest economic expansion in ever in US history. The biggest economic expansion. And you know the saying goes, what goes up must come down. One of the biggest things about Bitcoin, I'm just trying to get away all the negative biases because I know a lot of people have been asking me lately. You know, for every $1 that's spent in Bitcoin, $800 in fiat are basically being washed or money laundered, right? So one of the biggest arguments is, oh, Bitcoin, you know, it keeps up the infrastructure of the dark web, right? It makes it possible for criminals to do criminal things. But that is just not true. This report right here explains Bitcoin in the grand scheme of things. You know, for every dollar spent, you know, laundering money on the dark net, $800 is spent in US in fiat, okay? In fiat. So that kind of throws that out of the window. Like, there's no reason that anyone should ever be saying that. If you guys see it in the news, it is clearly someone just trying to mislead you for whatever interest they're into. But, you know, this article right here really explains the grand scheme of global economy, right? So as you can see here, the New York Federal Reserve says the US can be headed for a recession next year. That's based on a model it created using the spread between yields on a 10-year and 3-month treasuries to forecast economic conditions 1 year ahead. This latest model shows a 33% probability of recession next year, right? And there's more facts, right? So we can go in, there's a very good chance that we can go into a huge recession. That's 33%, people. That hasn't happened for like what, 12 to 16 years. Record amount of negative yielding debt signaling expansion of global shutdown. So if you don't know what negative yielding debt is, basically right now, if you were to take out a loan from a bank or the government, you can they charge you interest. Everybody knows that. If you're borrowing money, you're typically paying for the interest, right? That makes sense, right? Because they're giving you the money to borrow in the first place. But in the case of negative yielding debt, they are actually paying you to borrow money, which if that doesn't draw a red flag, maybe this will explain. So every single time that, so this isn't, they're basically talking about the stock market and increased debt. So as you can see here, the red is negative credit balances. And every time it spikes up, we see, like, for example, the tech bubble, we see another bubble pop right here. Then we see like one of the biggest economic expansions, and you see the negative credit balances. And what the government typically does is they'll decrease interest rates. So let's say, for example, United States government has a 3% interest rate that they're charging you to borrow money. They'll decrease the interest rates so business owners, people that want to invest in risky investments, can buy that and get less of an interest rate. Well, over here in Japan, as well as Europe, a lot of Europe, they'll pay you money. So it's even worse than 0% interest that we saw in the housing market crash. Once it got to 0%, when people could go buy a house for 0% interest, we saw a crash, right? This explains it right here. Why we should worry about the longest US economic expansion. Guys, we have just been going up and up. And it's pretty obvious at this point that we're kind of turning around. You can see hints of it in the price of gold, right? Investors are trying to look for less risky solutions to store their money, right? So this explains it like this. You guys, I'm gonna leave the link to it. It's a 12-page article. I'm just giving you like the top points. And here's just more evidence, right? So in European finance, the Dutch bank, big banks are laying off a lot of people. This is not just in Europe, it's all over the world. Jobs will be cut. Banks are not down 99% against Bitcoin. They're just losing against Bitcoin. Banks are like the Bitcoin dust, and it's a pretty crazy time to be alive, right? Personally, I am not investing in houses. I am not investing in anything traditional until I see some type of pullback, guys. If you want to keep it in simple terms, buy low, sell high. Right here. This one article explains it. We are in the longest US economic expansion ever. So are you going to buy high, right? Or are you going to wait for something to crash? And a lot of people are getting into cryptocurrency. While this is topping off, while traditional markets are not doing so well, cryptocurrency is the #1 performing asset class in all of this year. I want you guys to think about that, right? I want you to really understand the bigger scheme of things, right? So what am I going to do? Well, personally, like I've showed you guys in the last couple of videos, I have 2 price points that I'm looking for, okay? One is right here because of the supported gains, right? So if you can see here, I drew this line a long time ago. There's a lot of support right here, right? Or it's resistance, but it turns into support, right? It bounced off. So when we talked about it, I believe it was originally around here, but I'm buying all this up. The more it goes down, the better it is for me, to be honest with you, because I can get cheaper Bitcoin. I'm doing a strategy called dollar cost averaging. Look up dollar cost averaging. You never lose. It works really well in volatile markets like cryptocurrency. And as it goes down, I'm buying. And I'm putting a good percentage of my whole entire investment portfolio because I believe in blockchain technology. I think it's a better store of value and technology than anything traditional right now. Like, there's no better option, in my opinion, from all the clues that I've been seeing around, economic expansion, all this fake. They're giving out, think about this. They're paying you money to take a loan. They're paying you money to take a loan in Europe. I want you to understand how ridiculous that is, okay? But I'm averaging in. So, I know there's a lot of people, I wanted to go down to 8,700 so I can buy some cheap Bitcoin. But guys, don't get greedy. There's a good chance that this can go parabolic. You don't want to miss the big kahuna, right? Just for like a 5% gain. I know my brother was like waiting this whole entire time, but you can look, you see these huge parabolic trends. A lot of people when Bitcoin was at, even 13K were like, yo, I wish I would have bought Bitcoin at 8K. I wish I would have bought it at 9K. Well, we're at that point right now. It's at $10,000. This is the time you should be buying, accumulating as it goes further and further down. If it goes up, at least you made some money, right? At least you have some Bitcoin. But if you have no Bitcoin possession, I feel bad for you, to be honest. You need to be buying up this cryptocurrency. But this is not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, right? I'm just telling you exactly what I'm doing. But what major points am I looking for? I'm looking for long-term cycles. I'm not day trading, okay? There's people out there throwing all these technical indicators that were created for the stock market that don't have very little indication of cryptocurrency markets, and there's huge differences. And the best strategy, in my opinion, is trading these massive cycles, right? Buying when people are scared, buying when people are saying that Bitcoin's a scam, and selling when I see exuberance in the market. When I see, all these crazy stories about Bitcoin, that's when you should be selling, right? These big cycles tend to make the most financial gains. That's how you get 100x returns. If you're looking for 10% returns, good luck increasing your Bitcoin position. The chance of you doing that is extremely hard. And I'm looking to advice for people that have been right in the past. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but I think it's very interesting to talk about, right? This guy right here posted this on Reddit, which is a very good for cryptocurrency news. If you go to Reddit/Bitcoin, you guys can get some news from there. It's pretty good. They have a lot of stuff. Basically talks about he's a time traveler from the future, here to beg you to stop what you're doing. I'm sending this message from the year 2025. Things are looking bleak here, and some of you will carry blood on your hands. If you don't believe me, basically he's predicting Bitcoin price, right? And this article was posted 5 years ago, I believe in like around 2013, 2014. This article was, posted. Now it's a random guy and it's kind of far-fetched, and you have to ask yourself, do you believe in time travel or not? But yeah, whatever. I look at this guy was on point with his predictions. That's what I look at. I don't really care about all that. Look, he predicted, he put this article out when it was like worth $100. He's explaining that in 2017, it could be worth about $10,000. And now he's saying that in 2019, this year, it could be worth about $100,000. Yeah, I don't know if this guy holds much merit, but he's predicting pretty correct. And it went viral. And a lot of people are either looking at this or he might be a time traveler. I don't know. That's up to you to decide. But here's another one that's very interesting. Okay? On 4chan, this random anonymous person posted this, and he's been on point ever since. He's been on point, like almost to the dollar. As you can see here, he's saying that in April 2019, BTC will be worth $5,300. Let's look at April 2019 if he was correct. April 2019, it was worth about $5,300. This guy predicted that, like, and he posted this a while ago. That's just absolutely crazy. And now he's saying in July 2019, you know, we're in July right now. He's pretty on point. Bitcoin's worth $10,000. July, he said 9,200. Let's see the beginning of July. Yeah, he's pretty on point. Look, $9,200. Now he's saying in October 2019, we can see Bitcoin at 16K. So looking, you know, at these predictions, even in 2020, $30,000 Bitcoin. If you're buying Bitcoin at $10,000, that's 3x gains. I don't know what else you can ask for. You can never see that in any traditional market. You know, this is the best performing asset class in the world, Bitcoin. Yeah, it might have a small bubble. Yeah, you might lose some money, but if you hold over long periods of time, like 10 years, 5 years, if you're thinking long term, you're most likely going to make money. It's a parabolic uptrend in the long run. Yeah, if you look day to day, it might scare you a little bit, but maybe that's the way that we're supposed to be thinking now. Maybe the old way of governments kind of holding our hand through things is a thing of the past, and maybe cryptocurrencies and understanding the volatility and understanding all these financial principles should be a common thing. It should be something that's in our lives. I never had a class in middle school or high school on how to handle my personal finances. Why don't you think about that? Why don't people understand that? You know, I never went through it, and I was in a technical school. You know, I did learn a lot, but I'm just saying, like, most people, especially if you're under the poverty line, especially if you're in these, you know, horrible schools, right? You're not going to learn about personal finance. Maybe this is a new age where we have to learn about volatility and we don't fall victim to it, right? Guys, always look for the long term. If you ask me, I think that cryptocurrency is definitely a hedge. I think there's some fishy things coming out with traditional markets, these negative yielding bonds and interest that are basically thrown out there to stimulate the market for short-term gains, but sacrificing long-term development. That is not the way I think of things. Personally, I rather, you know, invest my time now for future benefits so I can reap the rewards later. I don't think they're managing the country, especially in Europe, too well, and especially in Japan. I mean, guys, look up history of the yen. They have a history of developing these Ponzi-like schemes with their dollar. I do not trust it. And there's a 33% chance of recession. But this is not financial advice. But this is not financial advice, and you should definitely make your own conclusions. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, chances are you're going to get left behind. Thanks for watching this video. Catch you in the next one.